Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back for an extra EVE Online video for this Friday. I thought I'd make another discussion video because a lot has happened in EVE Online with the end of Zenith, and CCP has just announced a new quadrant called Phoenix. And of course there's also big news. I actually got a haircut after 7 months pretty much living in quarantine and working from home. Kind of got tired of the long hair, so I went in for take everything off, and this is the result. Another quick note that I want to make here. Yesterday there was a power outage in the street, and I think it messed up with the webcam a little bit, so it's all a little bit grainy, and from time to time it's actually struggling with the green screen. So I'll see how it goes. Perhaps I'll try to upgrade to something better. But for now, let's dive into all of this because CCP has a new front page for eveonline.com. As always, if you want to read along with me or take a look at all of these articles yourself, go to eveonline.com, and then on the top left you'll find a news link which will bring you to the articles website. And there's quite a few that I want to touch on. First of all, of course, exploit notifications, rogue drones and Triglavian standings. So apparently there are certain specific structures, I think it is, that you can hit in certain rogue drone sites that actually give you rep for both Edencom and the Triglavians, and they can do so with massive amounts. It's considered an exploit, so don't do it. You may end up on the wrong end of someone's standings after CCP reverts whatever it is that you did. So be careful with this. And then, of course, right here from CCP Dopamine, Phoenix Quadrant 4 begins today. Let's go to that news article, and there's even a trailer for this latest squadron. Pretty cool trailer. The visuals are of course pretty damn cool. Definitely watch it for yourself if you haven't just yet. The thumbnail is also putting this yellow grid effect front and center. Now I think that this is like artist rendition about a mechanic that they're planning to do for the games. Quite a few people are asking, well, is this going to be like a resurrection mechanic from a fantasy MMO? What the hell is all of this? Looks like that's not the case. Let's go over this news article itself. So the shape of New Eden has been altered forever in the aftermath of the Triglavian invasions. So now it's time to rise from the ashes in Phoenix, EVE Online's Quadrant 4, following on our fantastic Fight or Flight, Eclipse and Zenith quadrants in 2020. Phoenix will end the year spectacularly with big changes to super carriers, continuous balance and meta changes, as well as the Crimson Harvest and the Yaul Festival events. So with the invasions now completed, Triglavian Collective has been usurping 27 star system, and this has changed the landscape of New Eden forever. Indeed, I want to talk a little bit about that later in the video, about what has changed and what my plans are here. So some capsuleers have joined their cause, others have taken up arms against them, and in some cases they have been forced to relocate to other systems. I must say it must be a pretty interesting situation to come back into EVE Online, to get in your clone and to find yourself in the middle of that new Triglavian territory. You'll have to find a way to get out there if you don't have the standings. That could be very, very challenging. But I think that this is very cool actually, and this is basically a new Eden that we have to now find our way in. So first of all, big news for the guys that love supers in 0-0. The colossal super carriers will be getting a major update in the Phoenix Quadrant, including the introduction of a new tactical clone ability, allowing destroyed player capsules to respawn immediately at a local fleet super carrier and into a new ship stowed inside the super carrier itself. There will also be a significant visual update to super carriers in this update, and so I think this is what the trailer is trying to show. The super carriers will have sort of a bay, a mechanic, and also a visual aspect of it that will basically allow them to hijack the signal from your pod when it's blown up, and then there will be a new clone ready. That'll become in a new, go into a new ship, and that will actually go straight back into battle. So it's definitely a new role, or actually from what I've read, a role that they had before, or that's been in the game before. But for now, let's call it a new role for the super carriers that could really prolong the staying power of of fleet members in battles. I think it's pretty cool and promising. Let's see what CCP actually does with it. So the highly popular, they're calling, Abyssal Proving Grounds will carry on into the Phoenix Quadrant. I think they're just going to keep making formats and adding in the leaderboards. I think they're pretty popular, but they also have like their niche character, I think, because I personally only took part in the Destroyer 5 versus 5 free-for-all, or no, 5-way free-for-all. Proving Grounds, once you get into a fleet with 2-3 other people, for me as a solo player, that's basically a little bit too much to keep going on this. Then I'd rather do my own thing, work on whatever I'm doing in detail and things like that. But for certain formats, I'm sure that I may dive into some more Proving Grounds, and the people that are enjoying them, well, there's more of them. But from this announcement, I would say don't expect to like get a permanent 1v1 filament or anything like that just yet. I think CCP wants to test the waters a little bit more, see what works, what doesn't work, and then just keep going and evolving the Proving Grounds before making any real permanent decisions for the game that don't require this constant iteration, which they're doing at the moment, of course. Phoenix will also bring with it various themed seasonal events. So yeah, Crimson Harvest, Yule Festival. I took part in both of those last year. You can get cool skins from that. I like it. It spices up the game, and some of those recurring events for the holidays, you know, pretty cool for people that want to get back into some EVE Online. And then this year, ongoing daily challenges that will develop in a robust system. So they do have plans for those daily challenges as well. I have no idea what that could be, but we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see what kind of rewards they have planned for these daily activities. At the moment, it's just SP. Perhaps they could add in some other cool stuff as well. And then, of course, keep your eyes peeled for more news in the upcoming weeks and days. I'm hoping to get some dev blogs and see what their plans are. I would say I don't think it's just going to be super capitals, but there's going to be lots of balancing changes and things like that happening in this quadrant, which feels like a little bit of a break from the previous DRE. But considering what happened last week, I think that's not necessarily a bad plan. Basically the first part of the year was fully focused on the Triglavian storylines, the invasions, the invaded systems, and then all of that culminated in the Triglavians taking 27 systems from Isaac, disconnecting them from the gate system, and basically connecting them with their own gate system there, with very specific rules, very close to wormhole space actually, and well, there's abilities to interact with that, to go in there. So let's maybe first though talk about what I wanted to touch on next, the resource distribution update. So this has happened as well, while the Triglavians have indeed changed the landscape itself. The resource distribution itself has also come online. So Isaac now gets exclusive mining rights, you could say, to Tritanium, Lowsec for Isogen Noxium, and Nullsec for Zydrine, Megasite, and Morphite. Add to that the change in the landscape that has really now, I think, confirmed that Jita and Amar have been pulled apart to different parts of the galaxy, of the center of the galaxy of Isaac. This is a very big change because now trade is going to be very important, but it's all going to look very different, I think, from before the invasions and before the fall of Nyar. So that really, to me, is like a watershed moment where things started to change, and all of that now is just continuing, and it's not going to stop anytime soon, because mainly I think of this resource distribution. We're going to all have to adapt and find out how the market will evolve, what part we want to take in all of this as well, and how we're going to get to our ships. What's the value of everything going to be? How meaningful will loss become? What is still affordable in EVE Online? It's going to be pretty interesting, so know that this is happening as well. I kind of want to take a look at that myself. At the moment, we're under a Sasha incursion, so I'll probably do that in the upcoming weeks and take a look at resource gathering as well, close to a Mars space. And then finally, I'm just taking the news article on the status briefing for the Triglavian invasion, which was about the live stream that CCP did before the gate shutdown happened, but it's really about that event, of course. The Triglavians basically grabbed 27 of our systems. They've turned them into Triglavian space. They are now their own region, I think, with 3 constellations of 9 systems each. You need like 3.0 standings with the Triglavians to use the gates, to use jump clones into there. But there are, presumably, I haven't seen them myself, I've been looking, but haven't seen them just yet, new wormholes that will lead to those Triglavian systems, and new filaments as well that can get you in and that can get you out. So for me, this is very cool. That makes a new type of space for me to explore. And what I'm personally curious about, the first thought that I actually had in my mind, is exactly what other people have been doing as well, because otherwise you know, they've been looking for the answer there as well, because otherwise you wouldn't come across this exploit. Is, can you increase your rep with the Triglavians without nuking your rep with Edencom? That is something that perhaps CCP should really make very clear, that yeah, we don't want that to happen. If you choose the Triglavians, you're gonna get into trouble in regular HiSec and in all of those Edencom systems. Or is there a way for me to now find a wormhole, go in there, do some specific content against other enemies than Edencom? From what I hear, there are drifter and sleeper enemies that you could tackle, so that I can slowly increase my rep with the Triglavians without hurting my Edencom rep. That's really the way my brother and myself have always been playing EVE Online. And for Co-Incorporated, we try to stay neutral. We try to get as many positive standings as we can, so that we maintain access to as much space and as much content as possible. That is how we have been playing the game, and that's also what we plan to do, of course, with this Triglavian content. But yeah, there are ways to get in there even if you don't have the rep, and then that'll be an exploration thing that I will definitely do. So at the moment, I'm actually running exploration, and I'm finishing all the wormholes as well, taking a look to see if we can find that new type that will go into wormhole space. My first thought is little venture or small mining ship, try to sneak out some of their valuable resources there. Could be very cool to try and to actually do. And then of course also explore what kind of PvE content is available there. Can I work on my Trig rep without nuking my Edencom rep? And then we'll see from there how we interact with the new Triglavian region that yeah, that's still on the map, interestingly enough, but it has its own gate system. It's its own little nucleus of 27 systems, and it's cut off from basically everything else that's on the map. It's actually pretty cool to look for it. So if you want to do that in game, head for the map, and then there's like the name of the region. You just click on that, and then all their gate connections actually show up all of a sudden. It's pretty cool. And it's definitely something that we're going to do. And then the next one, which I was saying, is that yeah, the landscape has changed, resource distribution has changed. How will that impact the markets? How will that impact industry, availability of ships, resources, and all of that stuff? I personally think that with Niarja now gone, if you want to go from Amar to Jita, I think now for the short route, it's like 12 low-sec systems or something like that. It's very, very risky. I think that travel is going to shut down even more than it has when it was still accessible, but you had that dangerous only Niarja system there. So that's going to be very interesting. I think Amar is going to grow even more than it has already, but the real question is, can Jita maintain its status as the trade hub in EVE Online? So before the fall of Niarja, you could say Jita was the center of the universe. It'll have a lot of inertia, of course. There's so much stuff in there that it's not tomorrow that everyone is going to abandon it. But I'm bound to believe that right now there is a new HiSec system that can be considered to be the center of HiSec, and thus the best place potentially to have a trade hub. Will this potentially evolve? I think that could be very cool. Overall, I think that HiSec has been torn apart a little bit. Everything is further away from each other, and that does mean that local trade hubs could increase in importance, which we've already seen happen to Amar, that has been growing substantially in the base resource trade that happens there. So for me, No more trips to Jita for BPCs with my faction loot, unless I find a high-sec to high-sec connection. So I'm also going to really focus on scanning down all those wormholes to see if there aren't any economically really important ones. You know, get one very close to Jita, move all your valuable stuff there for that quick trade. I also think exploration loot from a Mars space will go up in value in Jita, so those wormholes could become very valuable all of a sudden. That's part of the plan as well. But I'm expecting 99% of my trade now to be going to a Mar, and that's something that will start this right now, next week, whenever I do more EVE Online, whenever I do more trade runs, and of course I'll keep you guys up to date. So a lot has changed in EVE Online. I'm reading Quadrant 4 as a bit of a breather, right? A bit of work on the supers, giving them new roles, rebalancing, lots of stuff happening in that direction, which I think is a very good idea, because right now I think it's all about setting yourself new goals in this new landscape. And for me personally, for Co-Incorporated, it is going to be try to explore and touch that Triglavian stuff, see if we can't get into the good graces of the Triglavians without getting into trouble with Edencom. Not sure if that's the idea or even possible, but that would be my idea, or be very opportunistic whenever we find access. And then next to that, keep Dital up and running and try to develop trade in Amar. Those are my plans with all of the changes that I've hit right here. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you are still around, definitely put your own plans in the comments. Would be pretty cool to hear how people are trying to adapt to this new reality in the sandbox. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.